All right, welcome everybody to our September board meeting for the Rocky Mountain chapter of American Society of Travel Advisors. Let's jump in. I think our biggest point of discussion, primary point of discussion, is our trade show. That's 1 week away. But we'll get all the other stuff out of the way as well. Robin, do you want to take us through our minutes from the last meeting? You're muted, Robin.
Thank you. I literally was saying, just checking to make sure I'm not muted. So that was pretty ironic. Okay. So Jennifer said there was $46,095 in the account and that almost everybody had paid. There were 4 left to pay. We talked extensively about the showcase. At that point, we only had 37 advisors registered and everything seemed to be on schedule. The supplier updates, there were some updates from some of the suppliers, cancellations, combinations, wait list details. Jeff submitted the form to add to the ASTA national calendar. And then Jeff submitted, Trish, upcoming events. September was the picnic. October is the showcase. November, we were looking at Explora virtual. December, same as last year with the holiday party. And Trish was going to ask Lisa and Rob to put that on social media. We talked about events in general and future events. And then we also discussed for the next newsletter, which I apparently didn't look at when I composed the newsletter. Sorry about that. So, yeah. Oops.
No worries. Thank you, Robin. Any other notes for Robin? Did she get everything? I think the one thing, did you mention hiring the web guy?
Hiring the web guy. I don't see that in the minutes.
Okay, we had discussed and agreed to hire a web guy to assist with minor website updates, somebody that Jennifer knew through her networking group. So that's the only edit.
Yes, that does sound familiar. Yes.
That's the only note that I have. With that, any objections to unanimous approval? All righty, so approved. Thank you very much. Let's get finances going.
All right, so just a quick note, our mid-year financial package is due on the 30th. So I compiled that and sent that to Jeff. So I'm just gonna combine it with our bank account statements. They want every bank account statement for the year and send it off to chapter. So that is in good shape.
Did you get my signatures back?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have to compile it with all the bank statements and the other stuff that they want. So our account is looking healthy. We now have close to 50 grand in the account. I deposited one more check for Miami. Did send a check for the supplier showcase. We still have 3 outstanding, but I did get a note back that they're all in process getting signatures through their company, or they requested additional backup or whatnot. So I feel confident that we're going to get those 3 that were already registered. And then we have like a few more who just recently came on the scene this week. So those haven't been able to pay yet, but we're in good shape in terms of payment for the trade show. And that's all I had.
Sweet. Thank you, Jennifer. Trish, how are we looking for November?
For November.
It was going to be Explora.
Oh, I just need to touch base with them.
Okay.
I haven't yet.
Cool.
We were in Vegas last week for our ensemble big event and working on the the big event next week. So I haven't really checked in with them, but they've been on board for a long time. So I will send an email today.
Very cool. Awesome. Thank you much. And then
Uh-huh.
let's briefly talk about doing a dinner or a luncheon again for December for the holidays. Do we all want to do that again? And who can kind of help Trish put that together? Skylar, thank you. Kind of
Skylar's so
same,
good at that.
yeah. I would say same parameters as last year, right? This is just a hosted, no objections. Cool.
Do we have a date?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, if we can get a date and maybe a head count, that'd be super helpful. it's
I
just-
will.
Trish, you and
I
I
can
can
put-
talk after. But
Okay, and I can put it on Ticket Taylor now that I know how. And I can put it, or we can get it on the website.
perfect.
Cool. I think what did we have last year? 15, 20 people show up? Something like that.
I definitely think
remember.
closer to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was closer to 20.
5 maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say at least plan for that amount.
Do we like that area that we were in last time?
Yeah.
Like near DTC. I felt like that was kind of convenient. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm biased
Oh,
though
yeah.
because I'm down here, but for everybody else,
seems good.
It's central-ish.
essentially.
I would say for the date, be careful of other ASTA chapters holiday parties because there's a lot of them, kind of a whole spate during that early December timeframe.
Why does that affect us? Other ASTA chapters?
In case there are other suppliers that are going to be traveling around. So, for the event, if we want suppliers to be able to attend as well, representatives may be gone
Yeah.
during those other event dates.
John, you're talking about the Portland, Seattle, correct?
Portland, Seattle is one of them. I want to say that one of the Texas chapters does a holiday event during that time. Florida may also as well. Chickenfindtravel.com usually has a list of everybody's. So
Okay.
I'll pop that in the chat.
Thanks.
But you guys would prioritize us, right? Because you're with us.
Of course.
Well, Portland and Seattle, it's not necessarily they call it a holiday, but it's their showcase. So it happens to
Their
be
trade.
their trade show is in December. So that's something I know, John, you're attending. I'm still up in the air. I'm not sure if I'll be around for that, but I just know those two are back to back. Was like the 9th and the 10th, or the 10th and 11th. Yeah, something like that. Okay. If we were to do it like around the 15th-ish, is that too late, or are we looking more like way early, like first couple days of December?
I was just pulling up my calendar from last year. I thought we did it like December 5th last year, didn't we? Yeah, we
I
did it
think
on
so.
December 5th.
I think
last-
earlier in December would be better.
Yeah, it was pretty early. It was first week.
Okay.
It was December 5th last year. So if we kind of shoot for that first Tuesday or whatever, I think that's good.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, Trish, I'll get with you and we'll start working on that and plan that out.
Sounds good.
Cool. And then one more item of business before we talk showcase. Rob, Lisa, and Yudi went to Legislation Day. Tell us about how that was. Rob, let's go with you, I guess.
So we actually had 2 teams represented since they separated Wyoming into its own area and Colorado into its own area. So in this group here, we actually had Yudi going out on the Wyoming side. And I don't know, was anybody with you on Wyoming? Who was with you out there?
So just like last year, they paired me with Idaho. And when I
Okay.
checked in, I said, hey, would it kind of makes sense that I would be with Colorado since we're in the same chapter. And she said, no, we don't care about that. We just put everybody random. And I thought, well, that's stupid. But anyway, Rob was going to talk about that to the the higher ups for next year. Because it is
Yeah.
kind of dumb. I mean, the Idaho people are lovely, but it's always better to sit with friends, you know. Anyway.
And I'm going to check into that and have some information also on that from board information, which I'll share here in a moment as well. So we had the two teams with the Wyoming and Colorado. In addition to Lisa and myself on the Colorado side, we had one representative who lives up in Evergreen from Riverside, who was with us. And then we had two others, one from the Springs, and then one other here in the local area. So we went out and saw all our Colorado representatives. And those meetings actually were very productive. The asks for this year were non-controversial, fairly easy asks. It did not have any budgetary restraints from Congress on there, so you could, hey, and this means there'd be no money involved in this, and help people ears perk up. And Lisa, I'll let you give your insight on that, and I'll give some board stuff as well for the board meeting.
Yeah, we met with, for Colorado, we only met with the legislative aides. We didn't meet with any of our actual senators or congresspeople, and we met since there was the other travel advisor from Colorado Springs. We met with her, the staff from her rep in her area, representative House rep, and then we met with Jason Crow, which is Rob's and our rep where we are, and then Hickenlooper's office and Bennett's office. And the two asked were the airline ticket refund and the I forgot, I don't have it right in front of me. The
seat on the table.
Yeah, the seat at the table to have a travel advisor on the committee that right now has airlines represented, local, state, and city, and I forgot the other two, but we want to have a travel advisor on that committee too. But the legislative aides that we met with on the Colorado side were very receptive, taking notes, asked really good questions. And I will say, we were worried, Rob and I were worried a little bit about about Jason Crow's representative, because we met with the same woman we met with last year. And last year, like, she was just looking at her phone, and we met, which I understand they say this is possible, that depending on what's going on, you may just meet like in the cafeteria or in the hallway or something like that. And we did meet with her in the cafeteria, which was fine, but like, she was looking at her phone. But this time she was like very engaged and was not looking at her phone. And then you're supposed to send thank you notes after. So I did send the thank you notes, and she was the only one who responded, and she responded back to my thank you note like right away. But anyway, Mackenzie is her name. But anyway, it was good. Altogether, there was like 250 advisors and suppliers. Like Vicki Freed from Royal Caribbean was there, and like Rob said, Jen from Riverside Cruise Lines, River Cruises, was on our Colorado team. So there were some, there were a few supplier partners who came as well. But to me, it's always fun. So anyway.
Cool.
So the table, at least I was talking to, is actually the Department of Transportation Committee. So the Department of Transportation has put together a committee that is exploring travel issues on how they would impact the public. So what you've probably seen on national news, if you've been following it, is a lot of the junk fee things that the current administration has been pushing to eliminate in terms of hidden fees. So it's addressing that type of issue, airline delays, anything really that travel related that impacts the public. And because travel advisors obviously are in touch with consumers as well as having the knowledge of the travel, it makes sense to have a travel advisor on that committee, because right now most of the people on that are governmental people. In fact, they had one guy who actually spoke in the general session, and he was kind of I'll use the word dismissive in terms of understanding the value of travel advisors, and which was kind of peculiar given the audience he was addressing. And then Zane kind of called him out on it, and it's like this guy kind of tried to circle back around, and backtrack from where he had been. It was an interesting dynamic to watch. But we did learn in board meeting that there were actually 43 states represented, 35 suppliers. The states missing were Alaska, Arizona, Rhode Island, Montana, South Dakota, and Maine. And other than those states, everybody else was represented. So we did have 233 total people. Of those, 216 were travel advisors, and then we had other suppliers who were represented. And the one interesting thing they did this year is they actually had suppliers helping to support the event. So that is a positive dynamic, I thought, because our supplier from Riverside, she was actually, as we were presenting the issues, she was able to come from the supplier's side and say, okay, yes, travel advisors are important to us as a supplier because ... which gave a whole different dynamic than just us presenting as travel advisors. So that was a positive. And then also I just wanted to touch quickly, if I could, Jeff, on the board, because one thing that I want to just bring out that could and will, if they go forward with this, impact the chapter, that we can get advanced knowledge of starting to think about, is back in 2014, they had in place where they were collecting 10% of every chapter's funds that were going towards press media advertising to promote the value of using a travel advisor. So there was rumbling in the last board meeting, hey, we want to get more consumer awareness going as to what the value is of travel advisors, and let's bring back this 10% collection of funds from the chapters. So that is probably very well might be confirmed at the next board meeting, which would be either virtually December or in January. So just something we can think about. So
Interesting.
but that's the main thing chapter related I just wanted to bring out to this group to make you all aware of, and you all have advance notice because I have not yet told anybody else in Northwest. So
Okay.
So do you have any idea how they would do it? Would they take like our year-end amount, or because
So
the
in
expenses
the past, in
fluctuate?
2014, back when they did it back then, they would actually look at our year-end financials reports. They would see, okay, X chapter has 50K in the bank account from what they've reported. So then they would use that as the 10% figure. And then they would send out an invoice for that amount. The chapter would write a check and pay to ASTA. Whether they use that same format, I don't know, but that's what they did back 2014. So, and prior.
Yeah, Yudi?
So how would that work? Like the Idaho people, I'm just remembering, they don't have a chapter. So if there's places that don't have a chapter, how does that work that they're taking some of our money, but they don't? I don't.
So Idaho technically actually falls under the Greater Seattle chapter. So it's kind of interesting. So right now, actually, Greater Seattle covers all of Washington State and Idaho. Portland chapter actually covers all of Oregon and Montana. So it's kind of split in an odd way there. One thing also to bring out is I did get an email, which kind of surprised me while we were in Washington, that the Salt Lake City chapter had had reached out to chapters and asked, hey, can we take some of Western Wyoming and also Southern Idaho and also some of Eastern Nevada and put that into the Salt Lake chapter. So I got a note from Gwen that was, oh, well, I got contacted by Salt Lake that they wanted to do this, and here are the zip codes that they're going to. And I wrote back and said, well, that's great. But one, ASTA's mission has been to make the chapters smaller and not to make them larger. And with the I appreciate the gung-ho attitude of Salt Lake suddenly coming into existence again. But at the same time, I don't want them to get so gung-ho that they take more than they can actually handle and find, oh, all our enthusiasm has actually shot us in the foot. And then two, how, if you're narrowing the chapters, how will that work if they're getting a much broader region? And three, how does that impact the other chapters that currently have these areas under their chapter leadership? And maybe we should be talking to the chapter presidents of these areas that we're impacting, such as Sacramento, which covers northern Nevada, Washington State, as I just mentioned, which covers southern Idaho, and of course our chapter, which currently covers Wyoming. Maybe we should be working with these chapters as well. So that kind of took me by surprise in Washington. But that's going on as well that we're trying to work through. I don't have an answer where it's going to go. Right now, I can tell you when we worked with San Francisco and Sacramento, and they've also done it with Orange County and Southern California and some of the Northeast chapters. They've been looking in terms of, okay, maybe we can break these into smaller pieces. Other dynamic is, okay, some of these places such as Boise, I know I've had people reach out, and also in Reno, people wanting to start their own chapters, which to me would make much more sense than another chapter from another state coming in and saying, okay, we're going to put you over here. If they want to have their own chapter within the state, that would make more sense to me than, okay, we're going to give whatever to whoever. So that's also an issue we're working on as regional directors and looking at, okay, how does that all work? So, but I did want to bring that out since Wyoming was involved in that, and that of course impacts our chapter, depending on how they do that. And also, obviously, we have somebody sitting on our board who is in Wyoming. So that also was a peculiarity to me. Okay, maybe we should have some discussion with that, given that we already have Wyoming representation. There were just a lot of oddities to the whole situation and the way it came out and was addressed, and that we are trying to work through. So. Sally, I saw you had a hand up. Is that still up?
Sally, I know you're transitioning to have to be in the car. Are you with us at the moment?
I think she left.
Yeah, I think can you hear me?
Yeah,
oh, there's
right.
Yeah, I'm in the car, so now I can't do much, but I am here.
Okay. So looking at Showcase, Sally, I know you're in the car, so be safe. But I can get some quick numbers if you want.
Great.
We're at 57 suppliers. We're shuffling a couple of tables around just because of some cancelizations, but we're at 57 suppliers and 128 advisors have signed up, which I believe is actually higher than last year. So that's amazing. Sally, what do you need, or Darlene, what do you need from this team next week?
Well, I sent you all that list of stuff. And so I just need to make sure everybody is on board with what they said they do or what they've been assigned. And the only change we made at the team meeting at 2 o'clock was that Andrea is willing to do the prizes, to give out those and be the MC for that. So,
Great.
yeah, so we're going to put her in charge of that. And we had a couple. The main thing that's hanging is that suppliers can't sign up, and so that it's just confusing at this point. I just sent, as this meeting was starting, I just sent a note to Heather, because she's more on top of that than I am. So there's 4 that are on the list. Mary Grimes, with her new company, will know by tomorrow if they're coming. I think that's the last one. And there were 3 others, I think 2 of which have confirmed that they do want to come. They just couldn't sign up. So.
And I think they basically signed up directly with Heather. So Jennifer, you and I, if you don't have the instructions, we can send them an invoice via Stripe to pay by credit card.
Yeah,
Or
it would.
it is.
That would be great. And I don't know about those 4. So Heather's the one. So if you want to connect with her, and then once we get the list set, Udi needs it to get to Dina at Bowery, and Robin needs it because she's doing the handouts. And
Okay.
so if I can leave that with you.
Table set up. I need the table set up as soon as or the table map as soon as possible. Dina was asking for it. She wanted it today, but she realizes that we're talking today. So as soon as we can get it, I can shoot it off to her.
Yeah, we also need the supplier map to table so that I can do the 10 cards.
All right. I will work with Heather to finalize and clean up the supplier list tomorrow because we're waiting on Star Clippers. But Udi, I will send you my rickety map here of the layout that I built for Sally earlier today.
Thank you.
Yeah, that way Lowry, that Dina can get the tables set up. That would be great.
It's not to scale, but it is the layout. So cool. All right. So I've got the list that Sally sent out earlier up on here. So let's see. I'm going to skip the 2 weeks before unless there's something we need to talk through right there. 2 days before we have, how'd I do that? Get head count of advisors. So, Trish, are you on Ticket Tailor now? You are. Good. So should be good there. Let me know if you need help. Create an info page for the board with numbers, times, and dates.
That one actually, last year, a bunch of board members asked me like 2 days before where the supplier social was. And so that's on the website under the supplier information. Is there a social the night before? And Skylar has all the information. So if people would get that, that would be helpful.
Okay. I'm just focusing on board items on this list. So I'm skipping a couple. Send name tents and handouts to the printer. And 11 by 17 presentation lists to post. Those are Robin and Darlene. I'm just going to read through these. If anyone needs to object or ask a question, do so. But I'm just going to read them through them for the record. Buy food and flowers at Costco and grocery. Trish and Robin. An office supply bag, Sally. Ooh, there's Advil in there. You're a saint. Check AV equipment, me, no problem. Meet with Dina at Lowry the day before. Yuri and Sally. And then the day of event, everyone please show up at 8 a.m. We will put out the ASTA direction sign, set up the registration team, and place the tablecloths on the supplier check-in table. That's Debbie and crew. Supplier name tents, direction and presentation pointers, Heather, Darlene, and Trish. Direct advisors will come early to the area by the boardroom. Go sit on your hands. Stop showing up early. Reconfirm the prizes with suppliers will be Robin. Extension cords from Dina by outlets in the supplier rooms will be Yudi. They've got a ton of them. Place food and name tents on the refreshment tables, Robin and Trish. Check the table with coffee and tea with Dina. Yudi. Get ice from Dina. Place coolers and beverages, Yudi. Help suppliers set up presentations in the small rooms, John in the morning and Jennifer in the afternoon. Staff the booth with Gwen will be myself and Mitch with Gwen. Set up lunch from Panera around 10:45 when it arrives, Darlene and Paula. Put some lunches in the boardroom for suppliers will be Darlene and Paula. Set up AV and introduce lunch speakers will be myself. MC for prize drawings will now be Andrea, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Have fun, take a team picture. Everyone helps clean up and take all the extra food home. And we'll leave some flowers with Dina. I was reading off the wrong one. I think that's it. And then after the week, we'll do thank you evaluations and things like that. There is a register. What, Sally? Sorry.
The one thing that I thought of after the meeting earlier is that we're going to have a booth now for ASTA, which we had last year, which Rob has kind of always spearheaded. And I don't know what handouts. I don't know if Gwen will be bringing all the supplies, the handouts, whatever for that, or if we need to supply some from the chapter.
Gwen is bringing things. She's bringing the latest versions of things. I have a supply as well that I always bring to ASTA events, so we're good there. I also have the tablecloth, so I'll bring that. Yeah, I'll just bring my whole ASTA kit, which is growing to take over a closet. We do have a discount code for membership that's active now until October 15th. It is Rocky50. And I ordered bags, and there's a couple other things on my list I told Sally I have or will get. So I think generally we're in good shape. Anything else, Sally?
Nope. It's just getting that supplier list nailed down. That's
okay. I'll work with Heather to confirm those supplier lists and make sure they have table assignments and get that over to Robin and Yudi and your team.
Great.
Yes, Robin.
At the board meeting last month, we talked about it would be nice to have the location and dates for the 2025 show so that we have it to share at this showcase.
Not happening.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The location I think is up in the air. So cool. Anything else on showcase from anybody?
One thing to keep in mind for next year's showcase is Ledge Day is in October next year. I forget the exact days, but
I think I can't remember. I thought it was like the 8th to the 10th.
It's the 6th to the 8th, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
The 6th to the 8th. Yeah, that's what I meant. The 6th to the 8th.
Monday, Tuesday,
I was
Wednesday.
looking at this year. Yeah.
So we could still do the 1st, which is Wednesday, if you want.
The other thing we need to check that I realized is Rosh Hashanah starts on Wednesday the 2nd, and we need to look at Rosh Hashanah dates for next year. We probably shouldn't overlap with that.
Yeah, we got our wrist slapped pretty good at the Travel Advisor Conference on that one from one of the suppliers.
Yeah.
Rosh Hashanah next year is the end of September, so we're okay.
Okay, great.
Alrighty, cool. Well, thank you, Sally. Thank you, Darlene, for all your work. Everybody for all your work on that. This is an amazing event. I look forward to it. It's going to be awesome. Rob, is there anything else from the national level that we should be aware of, aside from a forthcoming 10% tax?
No, those are the main things that I had mentioned. So.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, let's focus our lives on, well, not our lives. Good Lord, don't do that. But our main focus for the next week is going to be the showcase. It's going to be amazing, and yeah, I think we're generally good to go. Is there any other business that anyone wants to bring up? Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody. This was a quick one. I mainly wanted to get through a few of the high level things and make sure we were ready for the showcase. We've all got a lot on our plates right now, so I appreciate you coming. And yeah, we'll see you all next week.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. See you next week.
Thank you.